9 News Plus weather, sponsored by Carrier Colorado. The future of home comfort is here.
Hey, thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus for a detailed look at your Colorado weather forecast, which we're going to go on a bit of a roller coaster ride this week. Nothing too crazy unusual, but we will be talking about temperatures about 10 to 15 degrees above average for tomorrow and for Wednesday, and then we're going to go about 10 to 15 degrees below average by the time we get into your Thursday and your Friday. Meantime, today, I think the main story is some blustery conditions out there, especially in the northwest and the northeastern corners of our beautiful state. And speaking of beautiful, there's a look outside right now here in Denver, and you can already start to see those evening shadows creeping in. Yes, I know it is 2 o'clock, but of course the clock's getting pushed back yesterday morning, and sunset today, 4:50 p.m. I have nothing to do with that, but it is certainly, I don't know, a lot of us definitely feeling that one. All right, breezy and mild for today. That's the big story. I think it's going to be breezy at times for us in Denver. It's as you head east of the city that those winds will continue to be on the gusty side throughout not only this evening, but perhaps overnight as well. Then the middle of the week, especially tomorrow and Wednesday, looking pretty warm, and then more mountain snow in store later on this week. But speaking of those winds, we've seen some gusts on up into the 50-mile-an-hour range up by Sterling, Holyoke, and for our friends in the northeastern corner, up 76 a bit. And also by Craig and Meeker in northwestern Colorado, we've seen some of those gusts in that 50-mile-an-hour range. The winds in northwest Colorado die back down tonight, but along the eastern plains from about I'll call it a Fort Morgan, Lyman line on east, that's where you're going to see those winds still stay pretty strong as we head through the overnight hours, and still could see some blustery conditions once again for tomorrow, but maybe those winds a little bit stronger as we get later on into the week, especially by Thursday and Friday. Temperatures, the other story. This is fascinating. Don't see this too often. Look at Eagle, elevation about 7,500 feet, 62 degrees right now. And Denver, of course, 5280, 53, a good 10-degree differential, but that's showing us there is a much warmer air mass that is lurking off to our west that will push east as we head overnight, and that will bring us much warmer temperatures for our day tomorrow. But also, look at that, Leadville, of course, 10,000, a little over 10,000 feet in elevation, 46 right now, only 7 degrees cooler than Denver, even though Denver about half the elevation of Leadville. Again, same story in the mountains, different air mass that moves east as we head through the overnight time frame. Tonight, temperatures drop back to the upper 30s. That's typical for this time of year. There's that 4:50 sunset. Yep, sorry, again, I got nothing to do with that. Winds out of the south, 10 to 20 miles an hour. In Denver, it's breezy, again, east of town. That's where it's a bit on the windier side. We got a departing system, very, very weak system that's just kind of grazing us in northeast Colorado. It's the one that led to a fair bit of cloud cover yesterday, but for today, that one's now departing, moving its way on up into Nebraska. So a lot of sunshine out there in HD Doppler radar. What you're seeing up into the mountains, that's not snow that's falling. That is the fresh snowfall. And the satellite picking up on the albedo, that is the reflectivity coming back. That's what you're seeing there on the HD Doppler radar right now. That is always a fascinating sight for nerds like me. All right, so we had the overnight time frame. I mentioned 0 rain or snow chances. Really hard to find a cloud statewide as we head through the overnight hours. A very, very nice evening indeed. But as we get into your day tomorrow, we are going to be looking at much warmer conditions compared to today. Look at those temps getting up to around 7 degrees for us, partly cloudy skies. Winds generally on the light side in town. But again, you get into the foothills and you get east of here, and that's where you are looking at those winds that are a bit more windy, kind of 35, 40 mile an hour winds. Nothing like what we saw over the weekend, but still at times blustery conditions. Highs tomorrow, most of us, what you're looking at here, about 10 to 15 degrees above average. Lamar near 80 degrees. A few spots could touch 80 on the eastern plains. That is pretty unusual for the second week now, the month of November. But hey, by the way, I didn't mention this, but of course tomorrow, election day as well, and weather is not an excuse. The weather is going to be fantastic statewide, so you can't blame the weather if you didn't vote. So go out and vote tomorrow. Of course, we are going to be talking about pretty nice weather, comfortable weather as well. Our next system that we're really watching for, it's Wednesday night and into Thursday. So there's an area low pressure that moves its way into our region. I was actually just chatting about this with Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin. The system right now looks like it's going to be a bit too far north to really give us big impacts here along the Front Range, but two things. One, I think we're going to see a fair bit of wind, especially on Thursday. And then number two is the mountains get another reinforcing shot of snowfall. Here's the European model and what it puts out for the next 3 days or so. And what's showing is, generally speaking, about 4 to 8 inches, maybe 3 to 6, 4 to 8 inches worth of snowfall along and north of the West Elk Mountain Range. That would be Crest Butte, Aspen, McClure Pass on north is where you'll be looking at again. 3 to 6, 4 to 8 inches worth of snowfall, and that will once again target the mountains, especially from I-70 on north as we head through Wednesday night and Thursday. Some of those exact details still lacking a little bit, but I do think that Denver, we maybe see some flurries, could see a trace or a dusting, but right now it looks like those impacts will be much higher in the mountains, and we just kind of get the wind here along the Front Range, which is not ideal, but we still at least, again, had that snow last week, and we could get a bit more Thursday morning. Thursday morning, by the way, for Denver, looks to be the prime time window for any rain or snow in our vicinity. Once we get past that, though, very, very cold temperatures. Some of the computer models drop us into the teens for Friday morning and Saturday morning, so don't be surprised if we get down below 20 degrees for the first time this season here in the Denver area later this week. Point being, winter's just around the corner. It's finally going to feel winter-like. Obviously, today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, a bit unusual. Temperatures 10 to 15 degrees above the norm. Then we go back to reality Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. One bit of good news I also wanted to pass along as well. Something we focus on this time of year increasingly so. Our snowpack numbers are pretty good here across the state, and it is very early in the season. Just want to reemphasize the fact that it's the 7th day of November, so we got a long ways to go. But the amount of snowpack we've built up across the state is about 12% of what our peak snowpack is. What I mean by that is we've gotten about an eighth of the typical snowfall that we get over the course of a full season. So that's not nothing there, folks. That's enough snow that it's really making a difference in the mountains, and it is certainly much more snow than we're accustomed to at this point of the season. So I can tell you firsthand, I was up in the mountains yesterday, and there's looks almost late December, January, early January like up in the mountains, and some of the numbers kind of prove that, and we get more snow later this week. So I kind of want to leave things on a good note here, folks, is that we've gotten off to a good start in terms of the snowpack, but little point of caution. It is very early in the season, so this would be like the Broncos being 2-0 or like the Rockies being 8-2, something like that. Very, very early, but we are off to a good start in terms of our snowpack. And again, we've got more snow on the horizon coming up later this week, which is added good news and hopefully restock some of that mountain snowpack. Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin's right behind that TV screen. She'll have an update for you coming up at 9 News at 4 and 5. And then meteorologist Lauren Robinson is in tonight at 6, 9, and 10 here on the 9 News family of networks. Once again, I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus, and have a great rest of your Monday.